What's up, you guys? It's Steve here, and we have got a ton of news to get you caught up on. President Joe Biden just signed a new bill into law. We're going to be finding out what's going to happen with the Inflation Reduction Act, which is supposed to hit the House this Friday. And then after that, we're hearing a ton of executive actions for stimulus hinges upon that. I've got video footage and articles to get you caught up on the latest. This is your breaking news, stimulus check update, and stimulus package update. Now, first off, you guys, take a look at the headlines coming out. Biden signs a bill expanding healthcare benefits for veterans exposed to toxic burn pits, and that was yesterday. He signed what is known as the PACT Act of 2022. Going to give you all the details and video footage on that, as here's another one. Biden signs legislation aiding veterans, and Trump takes the fifth. Now, if you missed the video yesterday, I'm sure you've seen it all over the news. Former President Donald Trump's home in Mar-a-Lago was raided by the FBI. Now, information is starting to come out more and more. My latest video on it came out yesterday. Check that one out if you missed it to get all the details on that. And as more comes on that, I'll keep you up to date as well, because that is pivotal. That's huge for the elections, for legislation. We will see what happens, you guys. And take a look at this. Biden signs burn pit legislation into law, expanding healthcare benefits for veterans. And very quickly, here's a little bit of detail before we get to the video footage. President Biden on Wednesday signed into law legislation that expands healthcare benefits for veterans who developed illness because of their exposure to toxic substances from burn pits on U.S. military bases during their service. So in many cases, they'll just burn leftover garbage. Some of that was toxic, and military members that were serving at that time were exposed, and some developed cancer or illnesses, short-term or long-term problems. And they're saying that they are now expanding Medicare so that way they're going to be able to get coverage. Take a look, you guys. The bill, called the PACT Act and named after Sergeant First Class Heath Robinson, is the largest expansion of healthcare benefits for veterans exposed to toxins in more than 30 years. It's expected to extend eligibility for Medicare to roughly 3.5 million veterans potentially impacted by toxic exposure. The president pledged the Department of Veterans Affairs will move as quickly as possible in processing and resolving claims for veterans seeking care. And he said, this law is long overdue, but we finally got it done together. Now, we've seen a lot happening right now, and I've been telling you here on the channel, as we get closer to these midterm elections, we're going to be seeing legislation, executive actions. Things are going to pick up because as we get closer to the elections, Democrats, they're in full control. They want to stay in control, so they're going to be doing everything they can to get things done, have it fresh in the minds of the American people right before they hit the polls for voting in the midterm elections. And with that, you guys, take a look at this. President Joe Biden, with the spring in his step, he heads to vacation. Biden arrives in South Carolina for a beach vacation, and Biden arrives on a secluded South Carolina island for a week-long family vacation. So he's getting a lot done. He's heading out, and what he's expecting is that while he's away, while Congress is on recess, they're still going to be working away to get things ready for the passage of the reconciliation bill in the House of Representatives this Friday. And you guys, this is the Inflation Reduction Act, formerly known as the Build Back Better bill. But here's the thing. Take a look at this. Just 12% of Americans believe that the Inflation Reduction Act will actually reduce inflation. A lot of people, and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, are saying this bill is a joke. It's not going to reduce inflation. It's the reconciliation stimulus bill that has no stimulus, does nothing for the American people. A lot of people are very upset with this bill. Yet, take a look, the Democrats, they're passing it through, and some are saying it's the Democrats' Inflation Reduction Act delusions, that it's not going to do anything for the economy. As a matter of fact, there's some reports saying it's actually going to increase inflation. And what the Inflation Reduction Act does and does not do about rising prices. And a lot of people are saying we're not going to feel any benefits, but we need help right now. And a lot of people are saying stimulus checks, take existing funds so we don't add to debt and inflation, send those out, send out some form of help to the American people, do something to drop the prices and help us with these costs. But a lot of people are not happy with this bill at this time. Now, we're going to see, because it's looking like this bill is going to get passed in the Senate after over a year of negotiations. Now moving on to the House, where Democrats hold the majority, it is likely going to pass through with no problem, and then go on to the president after he comes back from vacation to be signed into law. And as I mentioned to you, a lot of stimulus provisions hinge upon the passage of this bill. Once this passes, then I shared with you in a previous video, we heard from Pramila Jayapal, who has said that they're going to be pressuring Biden with a laundry list of executive actions to get ready to pass pass into law. There's an assortment of them. And she just said this a couple days ago, again, reiterating, vocalizing, there's more executive action stimulus provisions on the way. Now, we will see. I will keep you up to date every step of the way, you guys, but let's dive into the video footage. They're going to be discussing all this so you can hear it for yourself. Now, also wanted to mention, I checked the website. We've got well over 6,000 people that have signed up to get access to the comprehensive list of every check in the nation. A lot of people think there's just the federal checks, or they think for the state checks, I have to file my taxes. No, there's a lot of misunderstanding around the stimulus checks, you guys. There are state, city, county checks, literally tons of them coming out all the time. Some are expiring very soon. Some are popping up here. And in many cases, you say you don't file your taxes, you're not on record. They don't know you're supposed to receive a check. You have to be eligible. You have to apply. You have to know about it. You have to know where to go. And sometimes it can be a mess. And we're hearing tons of people are missing out on money that's available to them right now. And it's very sad. And I wish that Congress and our politicians would do more to help out the American people. But you guys, I'm going to do my best to make sure that my viewing community doesn't miss out on anything. So as you know, if you haven't already, go to www.reliefroadmap.com, put in your email, get added to the wait list. I'm working on it right now. Hopefully going to have it ready for you here very soon so you can have access to everything, see what you're eligible for, and if you find something you can apply. Spread the word so that way people know about this, because there's just a lack of people knowing about this. And we've got to let people know that there's some assistance that is available. So keep an eye out for that, you guys. Hoping to have it ready for you here very soon. Again, www.reliefroadmap.com. Add your email today. And also, you guys, with that being said, though, if you appreciate that and the content here on this channel, do me a quick favor. Before we dive into the video footage, smash that like button for me. Helps out the channel a ton. Thank you so much. Leave your comments. Share this out. If you want to stay up to date, totally free. Why not? Come join the Ram fam. All you got to do is very quickly hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. If you got any specific questions for me, shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3, and consider joining my second channel, Steve Ram Finance, where you can learn about growing wealth, personal finance. Right now, we're on the brink, if we're not already, in a recession in our economy. We've got 41-year high inflation. We're looking at a potential housing market crash, they're saying. So hoping that channel is a blessing to you. I know any bit of economic assistance or help or advice it can help out a ton right now, you guys. So I hope that channel is a blessing to you as well. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the video footage and get you caught up on the latest.
President Joe Biden has expanded federal health care for veterans.
Today, he signed the PACT Act, also known as burn pits legislation, into law. The law helps veterans suffering from cancer after toxic exposure while serving overseas. Many bases in Iraq and Afghanistan used burn pits to dispose of waste. That created toxic smoke, which was inhaled by military personnel. The Department of Veterans Affairs has denied the vast majority of disability claims involving pit exposure. President Biden says this legislation will change that.
Less than 1% of you risk everything to defend 99% of the population. 1% risk 99%. We owe you. You're the backbone, you're the steel, you're the sinew, you're the very fiber that makes this country what it is. And that's not hyperbole, it's a fact. As a nation, we have many obligations. I've been saying this for a long, long time. We have many obligations, only one truly sacred obligation: to equip those we send into harm's way and to care for them and their families when they come home. We have a lot of obligations, but that's a truly sacred obligation we have.
And CBS News Radio White House correspondent Stephen Portnoy joins us now. Hi, Stephen. So can you break down for us what exactly is in this legislation? Because it does go beyond helping veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan. There is a piece even helping Vietnam veterans as well, correct?
That's right. Veterans of the Vietnam War and even the 1991 Gulf War. This measure is aimed at making it easier for veterans who have served in a variety of theaters to get Veterans Administration and Veterans Affairs health care if they have been exposed to what are called burn pits. And those burn pits are essentially garbage dumps built on military bases to dispose of things such as tires, fuel, any kind of waste that the military accumulates while it's conducting operations. And this measure expands VA health care benefits to those exposed to burn pits. It removes the burden of proof for people who are experiencing a number of ailments, namely respiratory conditions such as asthma, chronic bronchitis, emphysema, and of course cancers such as glioblastoma, brain cancer, the kind of cancer that killed the president's son in 2015.
And on that point, Stephen, President Biden has this personal connection to the legislation. He has publicly wondered whether his son's brain cancer was in fact caused by burn pits. What did the president say about his son and the connection to his family?
Yeah, he specifically invoked Beau Biden today, Elaine, and it's not the first time. For years, Joe Biden has openly questioned whether his son died as a result of exposure to these toxic particulate substances while he was in service for a year in Iraq. And the president today had members of Beau Biden's family here in attendance, as well as other service members' families, as he signed this piece of legislation, which passed with 86 votes in the Senate and an overwhelming bipartisan majority in the House. But it didn't come easily. In fact, today, the comedian Jon Stewart was in attendance in the East Room. He, in the last weeks, really stepped up as an activist to try to push this bipartisan measure through. Republicans objected to what they claimed were accounting gimmicks in the legislation. In the end, it overcame that concern and passed on an overwhelmingly bipartisan basis. And so the president signed it into law today. The whole effort here is to make sure that people who may have been exposed to toxic substances while they were in service to the country can get care paid for by the Department of Veterans Affairs that they deserve.
And Stephen, taking a step back and sort of looking at the bigger picture here for this administration, President Biden has had several major legislative accomplishments over the past few weeks. We have the CHIPS Act, now the burn pits. So what's next for his administration? It's on a little bit of a roll at the moment.
Well, certainly, and the president even spoke to the fact that inflation was flat month to month, year over year, and that you've got inflation sort of trending down from 9% to 8.5%. So the president talked about that in his remarks today. On Friday, the House is expected to take up the Democrats' reconciliation bill that they call the Inflation Reduction Act, also essentially a climate and tax bill. Would involve $300 billion worth of incentives for green energy programs. It would have Medicare putting in place a $2,000 per recipient out-of-pocket cap for prescription drugs. It would enable Medicare to negotiate the price of certain prescription drugs, which is going to result, backers say, in savings for seniors on Medicare. And it's going to set a 15% minimum corporate tax for most corporations. And the whole idea here is to see to it that some benefits for the climate can be put in place, not nearly what the president proposed in his Build Back Better agenda, but with Democrat support, Democrats sticking together in the Senate. It passed last weekend, and now it's poised for passage in the House on Friday. If it passes, it would be yet another significant legislative achievement for the president.
All right, Stephen Portnoy at the White House for us. Stephen, thank you very much.
So there you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And you heard him mention there at the end that this bill that's passing through, it's nothing compared to what they wanted to see when they started these negotiations for what was the Build Back Better bill back then. They had wanted to see, we had heard Democrats talk about stimulus checks, monthly reoccurring stimulus checks, child tax credits, Social Security increases, wiping out student loan debt, free college tuition, free childcare, all of these different provisions that have been stripped out of the bill that are no longer included. They had originally wanted to see it. And they're saying right now, whatever they can pass in this reconciliation bill, which is now the Inflation Reduction Act, they're saying just pass it through, just get something done. And then we're hearing, as I've mentioned to you, Pramila Jayapal and a lot of progressives, they're saying the pressure is going to come down on Biden to pass executive actions for all of those provisions that had got left on the sidelines. Now, we will see. I will keep you up to date every step of the way, but you guys can see that things are ramping up here as we're getting closer to these midterm elections. But you guys, that is the latest. And as always, thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far and you haven't already, don't forget to take a quick second, smash that like button for me. Helps out the channel a ton. Thank you so much. Leave your comments, share this out. If you want to stay up to date, it's totally free. Why not? Come join the Ram fam. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, cite all my sources, keep you up to date on the latest. Any specific questions for me, join me on Instagram. Shoot me a DM at SteveRam3. Consider joining the second channel, Steve Ram Finance, to learn about growing wealth, personal personal finance. And also, if you haven't already, add your email at www.reliefroadmap.com to get access to all stimulus checks on all levels, not miss out on anything that's available. Going to be releasing that here very soon. That will add you to the wait list. Hope I got that ready for you guys here soon to help you out with all the money that's available that people are missing out on all the time. But with that being said, you guys, once again, thank you so much for joining me. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.